Ladies, I'm not here today to inspire you. I'm here to ignite you. This isn't another feel-good speech. This is a spiritual awakening. You've been surviving long enough. It's time to start living like the crowned daughter of the king. You are fierce, faithful, and on fire. If you've ever been underestimated, overlooked, betrayed, doubted, or broken good, because that means you've got a testimony worth setting the world on fire with. You are not just a woman. You are God's gorgeous woman. And you don't rise with apologies. You rise with faith, and you rise with fire. Stay with me, because by the time we're done, you won't recognize the version of yourself you walked in with. You are not who the world told you to be. You are who God designed you to be, and there's a massive difference. See, the world tries to label you from birth. It says, you're too loud, you're too much, you're too soft, you're too strong. It's constantly trying to put a lid on you, box you in, tone you down. But God, He didn't call you to fit into a mold. He called you to break it. He called you to be a reflection of His glory, not a replica of society's opinion. When God made you, He didn't mass produce you. He crafted you intentionally, beautifully, uniquely. You are not an accident, not a backup plan, not good enough. You are His masterpiece, wired with purpose and ignited with power. Here's the problem. Too many women have forgotten who they are. Life hit hard. Trauma tried to rewrite your name. People tried to define you based on what you lacked instead of what God placed inside you. And you started believing the lie that your worth is tied to your performance, your appearance, your relationship status, or your past. That's the counterfeit identity. But here's the truth. You are God's gorgeous woman. And I don't just mean physically. I mean, you carry a beauty that heaven recognizes, a spirit that radiates divine strength, elegance, and unshakable faith. You have an identity that hell fears. That's why the attacks came. That's why the betrayal hurt so deep. That's why you battled insecurity and comparison and silence. Because the enemy saw your power before you did. And he's terrified that one day you'll finally wake up and see yourself the way God sees you, chosen, anointed, dangerous in the spirit, and destined to shift atmospheres. You see, when a woman discovers her God-given identity, she becomes uncontainable. No more begging for validation. No more performing for acceptance. No more shrinking to make others comfortable. She stands in the fire and becomes the fire. She stops waiting to be picked and realizes she was already called. This is why it's time to reclaim your identity. Not the one culture handed you, not the one pain tried to stamp on you, but the one heaven wrote into your DNA. You are not ordinary. You are royalty. You are not broken beyond repair. You are battle-tested and rising. You are not invisible. You are the answer to a generational cry. God didn't call you to blend in. He called you to blaze through every lie, every label, every limit. And when you do, when you truly embrace who you are in Him, everything changes. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, pray differently. You stop asking, who am I to rise? And start declaring, who am I not to? Because God's gorgeous woman doesn't just exist. She rises bold, brilliant, and burning with holy fire. Faith isn't some fragile, wishful thinking. It's not crossing your fingers and hoping things turn out okay. No, faith is raw, real, and ruthless when it has to be. Faith is war ready. It's the mindset of a woman who's been through hell and decided she's not coming out empty-handed. It's standing in the storm with your knees shaking, but your spirit unmovable. It's staring at what looks impossible and saying, move anyway. Faith that won't flinch is the kind of faith that makes demons back up and angels lean in. It's not convenient. It's costly. But when you've tasted the bottom, when you've had your back against the wall with no backup plan and nothing but God to lean on, You learn that faith is the most powerful weapon a woman can carry. Faith doesn't eliminate fear, it confronts it. It doesn't guarantee smooth sailing, it promises that no matter how rough the waters get, you won't drown. You may get hit, you may cry, you may question, but when faith is active, even your tears have power. Even your silence has weight. God honors a woman who shows up to the battle anyway. A woman who says, I don't see the way, but I still choose to walk. That's the faith that flips generational curses. That's the faith that tells a barren womb to carry life. That's the faith that turns a widow into a warrior and a rejected girl into a revivalist. That's the faith that God uses to shift history. You see, faith isn't some spiritual performance for church folks to clap over. It's not clean and pretty, it's gritty. It's forged in fire. It's believing when nothing makes sense. When the bank account is empty. When the marriage is hanging by a thread. When the diagnosis steals your breath. Faith is what keeps your hands lifted even when your heart is breaking. It's the language of the bold. And bold women get heaven's attention. They don't flinch. They speak life where others declare death. They command mountains to move and refuse to settle for crumbs when they've been promised the feast. And here's the secret, faith is contagious. When you rise in faith, other women around you start to wake up. Your courage awakens theirs. Your story becomes their spark. So don't you dare downplay what God's done in you. Don't hide the battles you've survived. Someone is waiting to believe again because you chose to. Someone's going to fight again because you didn't flinch. This world is full of broken dreams, loud lies, and cheap confidence. What it's dying for is a woman of God who walks in a faith so fierce, so real, so anchored that every step she takes leaves footprints of freedom. You are that woman. You don't walk timid, you walk trusted. You don't back down, you break through. Because when God's gorgeous woman rises with faith that won't flinch, the world has to make room for her. There's a fire in you that this world didn't give, and it sure can't take away. You weren't built to carry a flicker. You were born to be a full-blown furnace. That fire in your spirit, that's not hype, that's holy. It's not emotionalism, it's divine ignition. You've been walking around thinking you need someone else to light your fire, to validate your voice, to give you permission to go. But let me tell you something, God already lit the match inside you the moment He breathed life into your lungs. You are not waiting on a moment, you are the moment. And the fire within you is not just to warm you, it's to transform the atmosphere around you. See, fire does three things. It burns, it purifies, and it spreads. And the fire God placed inside His daughters is meant to do all three. That burning in your heart to do more, to break out, to speak truth, to shift your family's legacy. That's not irritation, that's invitation. God is calling you to become the flame that refuses to die out. That fire has been tested through pain, through rejection, through long nights and silent tears. And every time the enemy tried to snuff you out, all he did was make your fire hotter. Every no you heard, it added fuel. Every betrayal, more firewood. Every time you questioned your worth but got up anyway, you threw another log on that holy flame. You're not here to live small. You're here to blaze through limitations. You're not just a woman with dreams, you're a woman with divine combustion inside her bones. When a woman catches fire with purpose, she becomes a force that can't be tamed. She walks into rooms and chains start to break. She opens her mouth and demons tremble. Not because she's loud, but because she's lit. And people can't ignore real fire. They may not understand it, they may be intimidated by it, but they cannot deny it. Don't let comfort put out your calling. Don't let fear smother your flame. Don't let past failures convince you your fire has gone out. It hasn't. It's been waiting for you to remember who you are. The world needs women who burn with unrelenting purpose. Not just women who can survive the storm, but women who bring the fire to it. The world doesn't change through nice quotes and good vibes. It changes when a woman rises with a holy inferno in her spirit and a conviction in her voice that says, enough. It's time to shift this thing. You were never meant to be lukewarm. You were made to burn with clarity, conviction, and calling. You don't need to fan someone else's flame to matter. Yours is enough. And when you own it, when you let God breathe on it, your fire becomes a movement. So stand tall, light up the darkness, and never apologize for the heat you carry. Because when God's gorgeous woman rises with fire, she doesn't ask for permission. She sets the world ablaze. Rejection is not the end of your story. It's the fuel that makes your rise unstoppable. Every time someone said you weren't good enough, didn't choose you, walked away, or counted you out, it felt like a setback. But in heaven's eyes, it was set up. God has a way of using what others meant to break you to build you. He takes rejection, turns it into redirection. The pain didn't disqualify you. It actually qualified you for the kind of authority you can't buy, teach, or fake. You've lived it. You've been through the fire, and now you carry something weighty resilience. See, the enemy thought that rejection would silence you, that you'd shrink back, give up, shut down. And for a while, maybe you did. Maybe you cried behind closed doors. Maybe you questioned your worth, your beauty, your voice. Maybe you believed the lies. You're not smart enough. You're not wanted. You're too damaged. But look at you. You're still here. That's not weakness. That's warrior status. Because the most dangerous woman is the one who has been rejected and got back up anyway. She didn't just survive, she transformed. She got stronger, louder, more rooted in who she really is. Rejection teaches you what applause can't. It digs out your dependency on people and deepens your connection with God. When the ones you trusted the most turned their backs, He didn't. When you felt invisible, He saw you. When you were ghosted, betrayed, abandoned, He stayed. That's why you're still standing. Not because you were never hurt, but because your hurt became holy. Your broken pieces got placed in the hands of the Master, and He didn't throw you away. He rebuilt you into a woman of fire. You didn't lose yourself in the pain, you found yourself in the process. You discovered that your value doesn't come from people's acceptance, but from God's design. That your strength isn't in being liked, it's in being anchored. And every scar on your heart, it's not shame, it's proof. Proof that you've lived through what others couldn't handle. That you kept showing up when quitting would made sense. That you didn't let rejection write your ending. You handed the pen back to God and let Him finish the story. This is why rejection no longer scares you, it empowers you. You've seen what God can do with a woman who's been hurt but healed. You've tasted what it means to be overlooked by people but handpicked by heaven. You've learned to bless the door that closed because it pushed you toward the one God had opened. You've stopped chasing affirmation and started walking in authority. So the next time rejection tries to whisper its lies, you answer back with your truth. I'm not here by accident. I'm here on assignment. You rise not in spite of the pain, but because of it. You rise because God wastes nothing, not even rejection. And when God's gorgeous woman rises with resilience, she becomes unstoppable. She becomes a walking testimony that rejection didn't ruin her, it refined her. This is your time, your moment. Not the future version of you, not the someday when it's perfect you. Right now, as you are flawed, fierce, healing, holy. You weren't made to blend in with the background noise of life. You were born to rise and reign. God didn't create you to simply exist, to wake up every day just going through the motions. He designed you to lead, to influence, to shift the atmosphere just by showing up in full authority. You were not given gifts, wisdom, or voice just to keep them hidden behind fear or false humility. You were created to reign in your lane, to command your space, and to bring heaven's power into the earth through your very presence. There's a divine crown on your life, whether you see it or not. And with that crown comes territory to take, giants to slay, and generations to influence. The problem is, life has taught too many powerful women to play small, to apologize for their greatness, to wait for permission. But the truth is, no one's coming to hand you a golden invitation to rise. You are the invitation. The call is already on your life. The fire is already in your belly. The authority is already in your spirit. It's time to own it, to stop walking like you're unsure and start walking like you've already been sent because you have. God's gorgeous woman isn't one who walks timidly. She moves with clarity. She knows who she is and who she is. She doesn't ask the world to validate her calling. She walks in it until the world has no choice but to notice. You don't need a title to carry authority. You don't need a pulpit to preach. Your life, your boldness, your walk, that's your platform. Every room you enter becomes a stage where God's glory shines through your courage. And every time you rise, you're not just rising for you, you're rising for every woman who thought she couldn't. You're not too late. You're not too broken. You're not too much. You're exactly who God needs right now. And when you step into your identity as a daughter of the King, when you truly reign from the inside out, fear has to bow. Insecurity loses its grip. Intimidation breaks off. Why? Because a woman who knows her authority is unstoppable. She doesn't need to prove it, she just walks in it. So this is your call to rise, not someday. Today, this is your call to lead. This is your permission to stop shrinking, to stop waiting, to stop wondering if you're enough. You are. God has placed something in you the world desperately needs. And when you rise in that truth, when you reign with grace and fire, you become a force that changes everything. Not because you're trying to be perfect, but because you're willing to be powerful. So walk like a queen, talk like a warrior, love like a daughter of the Most High, because when God's gorgeous woman rises to reign, the atmosphere has to shift. Let me tell you this, your rise is not a suggestion. It's not a wish, not a dream, not a someday plan. It is a divine mandate. Heaven is not waiting on the perfect conditions. Heaven is waiting on you, right here, right now. You are not just a woman with potential. You are a woman with power. You are not hoping to be called. You've already been chosen. And the moment you stop asking for permission to be who God created you to be is the moment everything begins to shift. This isn't about hype. This is about heavenly awakening. This is about standing in the fire and realizing it didn't come to consume you. It came to reveal you. You've been tested, but now you're trusted. You've been refined, and now you're ready. God's gorgeous woman doesn't just endure, she ignites. She rises with faith that cannot be shaken. She walks with fire that cannot be smothered. She carries resilience that doesn't quit. And she reigns with the kind of authority that shifts bloodlines, cities, legacies. So stop playing small. Stop holding back. The world doesn't need another watered-down version of who you think you should be.